So let us discuss ambiguity. What is ambiguity? Ambiguity means indecisiveness, uncertainty, triple or more interpretations, and within some syntactical context, vagueness. So, ambiguity is not vague, and vague is not ambiguity. Ambiguity may be vague within some syntactical context, and vague in the sense that of vaguely inexplicable. So, these next series of discussions, we're going to venture into stuff like ambiguity, paradoxes, which is paradoxes are ambiguous. But it depends on the context, whether it's a noun or a verb or adjective or adverb or pronoun. It's a whole different grammatical subject. So paradoxes is based on contradictory, polarity, coexisting polarity or coexisting contrast, a contradictory, like the wave medium, the wave particle duality in light technically is considered a paradox, a duality, and ambiguity simultaneously, because paradoxes is based on contradictory. Ambiguity deals with indecisiveness. We see that in abstract visual art, where the art may have ambiguous interpretations, multiple interpretations. And because we have the wave particle duality in light, it means that the wave particle duality in light is a paradox, simultaneously dualistic, hence the reason they call it the wave particle duality in light, because duality means rigid distinctions. Duality and contrast or polarity, they are a trichotomy. They share no commonality whatsoever. However, they share one subtle common denominator in terms of their polarity and nuances. Right? So a contrast and a polarity and a duality is not the same. Duality is rigid distinctions between, so black and a chicken may be duality, right? But they're not polarity. They might be in some context, a contrast. The whole objective of this is to explore the distinctions or the trichotomy between a paradox, ambiguity, and duality. So the wave medium particle in light is considered as dualistic, rigid distinctions, wave, particle. It's a contradictory because from one perspective, or from a special and relativistic perspective, when we deal with frame of reference, we refer to ideas like, in this frame of reference it's a wave, and then in this frame of reference it's a particle. So it's a paradox, it's a duality, and it's ambiguity simultaneously. And in this series of discussions, we're going to venture into things such as just some deep abstract linguistic philosophical concepts that seems to be prevalent or pervasive across the board in all scientific paradigm shift. We see that paradox, and we see that ambiguity, and we see that duality emerge in the wave particle duality in light. We also see that emerge in the musical octaves. In musical octaves, there's a sort of there's a paradoxical phenomenon that occurs with a musical octave, because an A chord or a C chord or D chord consists of, let's say hypothetically, an A chord or a C chord hypothetically, let's say, consists of 550 hertz or 240 hertz. We say an A chord consists of 440 hertz. So when you double the 440 hertz, you get 880 hertz. That constitutes an octave. Why we hear octave? Why does the A note repeat itself after the 440 hertz becomes when it doubles? So that's a octave, that's a paradox in music. And it turns out that we interpret sound logarithmically. Logarithmically means that we have a non-linear interpretation of sound. We interpret sound in subset increments. Incremental interpretation of sound. So the whole objective of this lecture is to venture into phenomena like paradoxes, ambiguity, duality, polarity, contrast, the juxtaposition of incongruity, some deep abstract linguistic concept that has been psychologically and sociologically misconstrued interpersonally in all different forms of culture, like why is irony and coincidences used interchangeably. There's a big dichotomy here between irony and coincidences. And then we have dramatic irony, we have situational irony, we have verbal irony, we have tragic irony, and we have Socratic irony. And then we have coincidences, and we have synchronicity and serendipity. Are they the same? Or are they the same phenomenon that's given a different definition from its opposing philosophical ideology, So we're gonna explore that into more details. So stay tuned.